Hello, welcome to MPH 505 Biostatistics. This is the Chapter 1 lesson. I am the course designer, Brian Albright. Here's a picture of me standing outside of my office. I will not be your instructor this semester. I simply designed the course. I designed the syllabus, I recorded all these lessons, I designed all the homework. I'll introduce your instructor here in a little bit, but first I'd like to introduce myself a little bit. I was born in Colby, Kansas, in the northwest corner of the state. I attended Colby Community College in my hometown, and then Emporia State University and Kansas State University in the eastern part of Kansas. And I finished up with my doctorate at Washington University in St. Louis. I've been at Concordia since 2004, and I'm married with 2 kids. Here are a few pictures. Here is my Facebook profile, and with this massive bass that I caught last summer. Here's my office. Right now I'm sitting in this chair. You see a few of the airplanes I've collected over the years. Here's a picture of my wife and I. My wife, Kai Ping, is originally from Taiwan. This is our math club t-shirt from a couple years ago. I'll give you some extra credit if you can tell me what that shirt says. And then here are my 2 kids, Martin, who's 7, and Kayla, who is 5. Now your course instructor is named Ann Hunt. She will be responding to all your forum posts, answering your questions, grading your assignments. You'll be having a lot of contact with her. She'll introduce herself more in one of the forums, but she taught at the Harvard School of Public Health for 12 years, so she has a lot of experience in the field of public health. Then she started a small medical consulting company where she worked as an epidemiologist and a biostatistician. And since then she's been teaching part-time, including here in our MPH program. Here are a few pictures of Ann. Here's a picture of her husband and her 4 sons on a ski trip. And then here's a picture of her 2 dogs. Let's talk briefly about our course objectives. These are listed in the syllabus, but I'll just go over here briefly. So first of all, we're going to apply descriptive techniques commonly used to summarize public health data. So descriptive techniques are where we take a set of data and then just summarize them or describe them in a simple format, like with graphs or summary statistics, those types of things. Okay. Number 2, we're going to apply basic concepts of probability, random variation, and commonly used probability distributions, and explain how these apply to the analysis of data. So we're going to be dealing with a little bit of probability. Not a whole lot, but we'll touch on the idea so we can better understand the basic ideas and concepts later on in the semester. Number 3, apply techniques for estimating population parameters, calculating margin of error, and determining sample size. So we're going to be calculating things like confidence intervals, calculating margin of errors, and then also determining how big my sample size needs to be before I start a statistical study. Okay. Number 4, apply appropriate parametric and non-parametric techniques for testing hypotheses about population parameters. So this is more generically called hypothesis testing, and we're going to talk about both so-called parametric tests and non-parametric tests. These are going to be things like the t-test, the chi-squared goodness of fit test, probably things that you saw back in your Intro to Stats class. Okay. Number 5, critique uses of statistics in public health. Specifically what we mean by this is that we want to be able to read the statistics in public health research and better understand what exactly it is they're saying. So when we see something like a p-value or a confidence interval or a chi-squared test or a t-test, we'll have a good idea of what they mean and a good idea of how those calculations were made. And we're going to be critiquing things through the reading of journal articles and then our discussion posts. And the last objective is to use the Microsoft or the software Microsoft Excel to perform statistical calculations and create graphs. So we're going to do all of our number crunching with Excel. We're not going to be doing number crunching by hand. We're going to let the computer do most of the work. We're going to really focus on understanding what it is we're doing, why we're doing it, and what it all means. And so again, our calculations are going to be done in Excel. And why are we going to use Excel? Well, It's ubiquitous. Everyone uses Excel. You're always going to have access to Excel regardless of what job you have. There are more powerful statistical calculation software out there available. You may have used some of those in your Intro to Stats class, but we're going to use Excel because everyone has it. It's easy to use. It's powerful. Has good data handling and graphics ability, and it's well trusted. And that's a good point, because if you use some software that no one's ever heard of, that software to them is a black box. It's something you plug numbers in, you get numbers out, but they have no idea what's going on because they may have never heard of it. But everyone's heard of Excel, and so you say you did the calculations in Excel, that immediately lends you a little bit of credibility. Now, whether that's good or bad, that's another argument. But so we're going to be using Excel. Now, in the book, the Excel guide, and in the lessons, they're going to explain how to do things in Excel 2007. In the lessons that I do online, we're going to use Excel 2010. And I'm going to use a PC version. You may have a different version. Maybe you're using an older version or a Mac version. The differences shouldn't be that significant, so you should have no trouble using whatever version of Excel you have. Okay. So the class format, the basic way this is going to work is, so for each week of the class, you're going to read the assigned chapters and view the lessons. So what you're viewing right now is, of course, the Chapter 1 lesson. Now, in these lessons, I'm not going to go over every detail in the book. I'm just going to hit the highest points, or what I think are the most important points from that chapter. And so these lessons do not take the place of reading the chapter. They simply supplement the chapter. So you can choose to read the chapter first and then view the lesson, or vice versa, whichever one you think works the best. And then view the Excel lesson. Now, this is only going to apply to weeks 1 and 2. In weeks after that, the how to use Excel is going to be combined with the chapter lessons. And so there'll be, for weeks 1 and 2, there'll be a separate Excel lesson that explains the basics of how to use Excel. Now, those lessons are going to supplement the reading in the chapters in the Excel guide. After you view the lessons, do the assigned exercises in Excel and submit the workbook. So you're going to do all the calculations in Excel. You're going to save each answer on a separate worksheet, and then you're going to submit the workbook through the Engage platform, and then I'll grade it and return your score. And then the last thing is that each week, or nearly each week, there's going to be an assigned journal reading. And so I've selected a few articles that use statistics, and we're going to read those articles and kind of comment on different aspects of them as they pertain to the lesson for that week. So you're going to read the journal and then comment on it in your discussion post, and then comment on at least one of your classmates' posts. So the first chapter is the basics of what is biostatistics, and we're going to hit just a couple of slides here to summarize the most important point here in Chapter 1. So what is biostatistics? Well, it's simply the application of statistical principles to medical, public health, and biological applications. The statistics that we're going to talk about here aren't a whole lot different than maybe what you saw in your Intro to Stats class. The only difference is that all of our applications are going to apply to public health settings. And so this consists of collecting, summarizing, interpreting information, and making inferences that appropriately account for uncertainty. And that's an important word here. We're never going to be 100% confident in any decision that we make regarding public health, and so our analysis of data helps us to account for that level of uncertainty. This graphic right here, I think, summarizes kind of this definition of what is biostatistics. So we're going to start off here with some population. Maybe it's a population of people that we want to know something about. And so in order to know about that population precisely, I'd have to go out and get information from every single member of that population. Well, that population could be several million people, and so that's impossible to go. I can't go out and survey every single person. So instead, we're going to collect a sample. So this is going to be a subset or subcollection of members from this population. We're going to get some information from that sample. And so we're going to get some data, we're going to summarize that data, we're going to crunch the number with an appropriate hypothesis test, or maybe calculate a confidence interval or something to that effect, and we're going to use that to make some inferences or generalizations about the population. And then we're going to apply those ideas back to our original population. So that's it for this brief overview, this introduction and Chapter 1 lesson. So from here, your assignment is to read Chapter 1.